Whiskey 3, Golf Tango Romeo.
Whiskey 3 station, come back with the call sign again.
It is Whiskey 3, Golf Tango Romeo, GTR.
Roger, sir. What's the name there?
Name here is Scott. I'm located up in Maryland, not too far outside of Annapolis. I just put up a new antenna today. I'm talking to you on a Yaesu DX-3000 radio with a HAL 781 microphone. And I put up a new end-fed antenna made by Maple Leaf Studios today. It's about 75 feet on one end and 20 on the other, in the sloper configuration. And so far it's been doing pretty good. But I figured I'd give you a call and I could hear myself later on your show.
Roger. And just looking at you, you seem to be about 15 dB over my local noise level. I'm copying you on my two 10-foot magnetic loop antennas in the co-phase position, and you are about 15 over. Now, I'm looking also at your audio on a VU meter, and it does appear that you could use a little fattening of your audio signal if you might be interested.
Fattening, really? Most people tell me I already sound pretty fat, and that's almost too fat. Although I use the same setting for DX and also Reg2.
Absolutely. Well, your EQ is just spot on. What we recommend is that the beginning of our fattening process is a little work on the compressor processor, but we only want it at about a 3. You're barely in there, and you can never hear it working, but it does its thing at about a 3. Roger?
Copy that. I'll have to see what I have it set to and take a look. Do you have a lot of calls waiting on you right now?
No, we're just cooling it right here, talking to you, sir. If you would be interested, take a look and see what you got there. Like I say, we recommend a 3 on the compressor, Roger.
Yeah, roger that. I have some notes right here. Let's see. So I have the compressor set. Let's see. I forget. Do you know off the top of your head what the setting that is on the DX-3000? Which menu number it is?
Oh, no. No, that's your department, Roger.
Yeah, God, yeah. I have a feeling it's item number 167, which I have set to 2, compression.
Roger. Well, is it tough to get to there?
Yeah, I'm looking right now while I'm talking to you, and I'm taking a quick look here. Let's see, item number 167. Let's see. That's part of the parametric EQ. Okay. I'm not sure which is the compression level, to be honest with you, on this menu.
Roger. Well, let me give you some notes, and then you can peruse, or whatever it is at your leisure, Roger.
QSL, that sounds good.
All right, we start with a limiter at about a 3. Insert limiter on at about a 3. From there, we move to the ALC meter. I bring up the ALC meter, and with mic gain in hand, adjust the ALC meter where it's reading mid-scale to 2/3. Mid-scale to 2/3 by adjusting your mic gain control. Roger?
Yeah, copy that.
And your EQ sounds fine, so you won't have to mess with that. You just, those two things, and that will give you a 3 dB dynamic range. And that will mean that your average percent of peak modulation should be up there around 80-85%. Roger?
Yeah, copy that. And I'm still trying to figure out which is the compression. I don't see anything that actually does say compression on this. It's been a while since I've been in the settings on this radio.
Roger, Scott. Can you get to your ALC meter? Do you know where that is?
Yeah, I'm viewing the ALC right now.
All righty, go ahead and adjust your mic gain for mid-scale to 2/3 on your ALC meter.
That's kind of where it's actually hitting right now. Just about, it's just going to midway.
Roger. Well, we want it to be between mid-scale and 2/3. It's very important that be set exactly as that way to get and arrive at the 3 dB dynamic range. Roger. Mid-scale to 2/3 on your ALC meter.
All right. I'm going to turn it up a little bit. Hang on 1 second. Let me get out of this menu. All right, here we go. I'm going to turn it up a little bit. 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2. Check. All right. That's about 2/3. How does that audio sound to you now?
Roger. The thing is, what we're talking about is that's your ALC meter is looking at the output of your limiter, not your compressor, but your limiter. And what we're doing is just bringing that level up and letting the limiter work on it just a tad to get a better dynamic range. The unprocessed audio has about a 10 dB dynamic range, and if you interpolate that into a radio and transmit unprocessed audio, your average percent of peak modulation will be around 30%. So what we want to do is move your dynamic range from 10 dB to about 3 dB, and that would mean that then your average percent of peak modulation would be between 80 and 85%, and you would seem to be about at least twice as loud with finesse. Nobody can hear the compressor compressing, the limiter limiting. It just is that you're loud, and it doesn't sound like you're up against the wall ballistically, Roger.
Understand. All right, cool. Well, I can do that off the air, or at least off the airtime with you. Make the final adjustments. But I made that same adjustment on my 7300 radio about maybe 4 or 5 months ago. Probably should do that on the 3000 as well. Well, I appreciate your time, and I'll look for the QSO on your YouTube channel show.
Roger, Scott. Well, three's that way, sir. Like I say, your EQ sounds fine. I don't think you'd have to do anything with that. It's just going to get louder and sound good. And like I say, we are recording now till 5. And if you wanted to check your audio, which is sounds really good now. The only question I had earlier was that your limiter did not seem to stonewall quite as good as I thought it might. And usually that's because somebody's running a little bit less level than the mid-scale to 2/3. So when you start running mid-scale to 2/3, that limiter holds the peak right at the point, and there's very little blow-by. So anyway, we'll say 3s now, and hopefully you'll be able to check in with the YouTube and do that call letter search, KC9VKV, and you'll be looking for my group air check 112919. So we'll say 3s for now. Have yourself a real good afternoon. Hopefully you're not suffering too much from over Thanksgiving consumption. I know I'm not moving around too fast. As a matter of fact, this morning was the only morning in a long time that I did not double check my 2 magnetic loop antennas, 10 foot in, so there's a lot of surface that tends to pick up anything like rain or the semblance of rain or the aftermath of rain or cold temperatures. There's a lot of things that affects the operation as far as the frequency stability of a 10-foot magnetic loop antenna. So we usually every Friday morning go out with the analyzer and tune those separately. This is a poor operation. We can't hardly afford a couple of $500 Russian auto-tune capacitors, so we have built our own, which is a step up. We actually have fins on our capacitors now. There in the beginning, we were using, let's see, what was that? A red gold tomato medium-sized can and a smaller standard-sized can of cut green beans, empty, of course, 2 leads on either one of the cans, and then the little can had about an inch clearance in the big can as it slid in, and then we took some silicone. There was a silicone mat that we got, and we cut the strips of the silicone mat just the size of the tallness of the little can, wrapped it around and sealed it with duct tape, crammed the little can in the big can, took it out, plugged it up, and the first shot out of the box was we were on 8 megahertz, and it was about 5 minutes till we had it tuned to 7188 on our red gold can tuning capacitor, and it did great. We could run for about a half an hour, an hour and a half at a kilowatt with only slight warming of the cans. So it was working pretty good there. I understand like kilowatt about 30 kVA, somewhere around in there, is necessary for the clearance of that, which I think interpolates to about an inch, maybe slightly over an inch, inch and a quarter or something. So we had an inch of clearance between our two cans, and then we had that silicone wrap around the two cans as the little one slid into the big one, and so I think that probably added another 20 kVA. So I just imagine that red gold tomato can tuning capacitor had about a 50 kVA capability, but who knows? At least it was enough for a kilowatt, and we ran that way for quite a while. And we did a lot of tests on our magnetic loop antennas about the difference between magnetic loop radiation patterns and signal strengths at 700 miles versus our dipole antenna. And now we have a very clean dipole antenna. It's set up for maximum radiation towards the East Coast. We're usually doing a 20 over from Montreal to Miami, with somewhat of a hot spot in North Carolina. And that's where we usually don't go west that much, but we do go up and down the East Coast. And so anyway, we are monitoring now on our 4 SDRs. So if you have a radio that you want to check out the audio, give us a shout. KC9VKV listening.
All right, very good to you, sir. Very good. This is Whiskey 3 Golf Tango Romeo. And I do have the ALC up right now, and I'm adjusting it while I'm talking to you again. I got it peaking probably a little further than it was before. It's not really wanting to go past halfway, though. It's going right to about the end of the white area, which is 9, staying below 20.
Roger. Now, do you have red marks for over?
No, it's kind of like it goes 1 through 9 in the white, and then it goes to blue. All
right, and what's the color in front of white?
It doesn't. It just kind of has a bar there, so it's just kind of, I don't know. This is the DX-3000. I never really used the ALC meter much.
Roger. Yeah. Well, I would say in the before it gets to the white, you don't want to go into the white, Roger.
Yeah. So it's going about halfway. I mean, does the audio sound over modulated right now?
I'm copying somebody whistling. Whistler's grandmother is, please, this is an active frequency. Don't disturb an active frequency. Go somewhere else, up or down 4 kc or so. Anyway, it is sounding good, sir. I think you've got it going on. Just keep it in the good area there. Keep it out of the white, I guess.
Copy that. Yeah. All right, well, thanks for your help. I appreciate it. Whiskey 3 Golf Tango Romeo will be clear, and then let you go on and make another contact there.
Roger, just FYI, your 100% mark is very repeatable, consistent, so your limiter is just working beautifully. It's not letting wide excursions go past the point that it has said that is the stone wall. So it's working just beautiful. Roger.
Copy that. All right, I'll leave it there. The mic gain is now up. I moved it from about 45 to 55.
Roger that. Sounds good. And again, if you check YouTube for the call letter search KC9VKV, you'll be able to discern your audio, and I think you'll like it.
All right, very good. Have a good one, and 73s.
Roger, Scott, 3's that way, sir. And just a reminder, this is KC9VKV. We're live till 5 and recording all the way. So if you have a radio you want to check out, give us a shout. KC9VKV listening.